Hello everyone! If you are one of the aspiring students who wish to score the MEXT Scholarship, in this video I'm going to tell you what are the top tips for MEXT Scholarship Interview. Done! So as an introduction, my name is Yuni and I'm from Indonesia. I came to Japan 5 years ago as a MEXT scholar. So in 2015, yes. So I did all the procedures if you know and you already applied, and now maybe around this time you will kind of like you have done the paper test and now you got the invitation for the interview. Then congratulations. So don't be nervous. I will tell you what kind of questions that they generally ask. So first, we need to know who are the people who usually ask this question. So first and foremost, I'm not sure how it works in other country, but I've heard from many of my other MEXT Scholar friends that it's generally kind of like similar. So usually it's the general consulate, like he or she will be the main kind of like they will be sitting at in the middle, and then the rest of two will be the assistant, and usually one of them either was previous MEXT scholar, or either that they have ever studied in Japan, and maybe other, and maybe some that really have that kind of like interviewing skills and psychology, because they need to kind of like score your personality in the end. Okay, so usually it will be like 3 interviewer, and it will be a group interview, so not 1 versus 1, so don't be nervous. And usually maybe kind of like 4 to 3 interviewees. And so this is one of my first tips, is to dress properly. You don't really need to like wear a suit, because that's kind of like to maybe like you're not there for job interview. But if you really want to, feel free to. But in my memory, like there wasn't any candidate who wears a suit, but maybe more of a formal dress. Well, in Indonesia we kind of like wear something called batik. It's kind of like equal to formal clothes, so a lot of people kind of like wear them. But just dress nicely, and dress smartly and look proper. Okay, the second tip is that, okay, what kind of question that they usually ask you? So pretty general, maybe you'll find this around the internet as well, is that, okay, like, why do you want to go to Japan? This question is very generalized, so you don't want to give a general answer. You want to give a like very unique answer, so that the interviewer remembers you. So for example, don't give a general answer that I want to go to Japan because I like anime. Okay, I'm not saying that this answer is it's not good, but then unless if you are applying to be kind of like anime graphic designer or illustrator, anything that relates to anime production, then don't mention anything about anime. Mention something that is related to your study. They won't usually ask you why. Oh yeah, they will also ask you why you choose this study. So let's say if you choose engineering, so why engineering and why in Japan? So you have to think about these 2 things. So why engineering and why it must be in Japan. If you just answer engineering and it's too general, not very specific to Japan, then the interviewer will kind of like, well, you kind of like can do that in Singapore or maybe in other country, right? And why Japan? If you're lucky, if the interview didn't ask about why Japan, then they'll probably think, this candidate is just trying all kinds of scholarship and maybe try to score a goal of anything that is proper. That's bad. But don't worry, like they usually kind of like ask based on the the paper selection, kind of like the registration form that you first send, kind of like essay, like why did you write about this, blah blah blah. Also, another general thing is that okay it's not very general, but like, do your family allow you to go there? I'm not sure whether they ask in other country, but then in my group interview and other candidate, they do kind of like ask. And especially if you are like the only child, and if they know because they see from your profile, then they'll also ask, what do your family allow you to go there? Me being asked like that, so I say that yeah, they do allow me to go there because they know that Japan is safe and like they have a good culture. So yeah, why like they allow me to go there? Because I think some of the alumni, yeah, some of the people who already got a scholarship but then at the end reject because of the family reason. So that's not good because you're kind of like throwing the opportunity that can be given to somebody else but then cannot because they have given it to you. They cannot just call like, oh yeah, the candidate number one just rejects, so well you can go to so you will be the next candidate. No, it doesn't work like that. So another tips is that answer honestly. Don't lie, because one of the interviewer, they are very good at reading people. They are the interviewer and they did this for many times, perhaps, so they do know which candidate is lying, which candidate is like making up stories. So you want to try to like be honest in any questions that you have given. Maybe like say for example, so in Indonesia, a lot of them are kind of like Muslim students. So if you're a Muslim, maybe this can be kind of be reference. They will kind of like ask, well, in Japan, a lot of the food are kind of like have alcohol, and a lot of them are not halal. So will that be okay for you to spend your 4 years there? So you kind of like have to be very honest in here. Some of the candidates kind of answer yes, they do know that it will be a struggle to like eat out, but then I will try to learn cooking by my own, and maybe buy some Indonesian ingredients and bring it there so that like it won't really clash into my Muslim culture, which is very nice because that shows that what kind of like struggle that you will have in Japan and how you are going to overcome it. That's very important because some of the scholars, some of the MEXT scholars, like they either go into this like become depressed or maybe like stressed, or like they didn't like the Japanese life and then they just cancel in their second year, which is very unfortunate to do so. So a lot of the interviewer, they kind of like want to prevent this to happen, and they want to select the one that really can do the best until the graduation. Okay, talking about the graduation, they will sometimes also ask you, what do you want to do after you finish your study in Japan? So here you also have to be very honest. For me, I wanted to work in Japanese companies, so I answered that, well, after I graduated, I wanted to work in Japanese companies, either in Japan or in Indonesia. However, it will be better if I started off in Japan, and after a while and I learn about their business here, then maybe I can come back to Indonesia and maybe just continue working in Japanese company. And another candidate will answer, well, I wanted to continue my study to graduate student and continue to research about this. Well, she kind of like have that long vision of research what kind of topic. But even if you don't have any kind of that topic, just say that I want to continue into like a graduate degree. That's my plan in Japan. Simple, right? So either you want to work, you want to continue study, or you want to come back to Indonesia, just make sure that you answer honestly. They obviously don't expect you to like you have to contribute to Japanese economy and be a slave there and work for 10 years or so. Like, no, don't worry. And if you know that this scholarship you don't need to pay it back, right? So after 4 years, no contract and whatsoever. So don't worry about anything about that. And if you are nervous, just also be very honest, like, I'm very nervous, please give me a time to think. Generally, a lot of the a lot of the interviewer, they are very, very nice. So yeah, don't really worry about that. What another thing that they ask a lot in interview, yeah, generally about the culture thing, like what I say about the Muslim thing. They will also maybe kind of like, let's say that you don't know any kind of the Japanese, what will you do, or like that. Or if you kind of like have that kind of Japanese certification like N2 or N1, they will also ask, why did you started learning Japanese? So just say like, well, my interest started in this time you can say kind of like anime. My interest started in anime, and then I kind of like find the Japanese like they sounds really nice, and I wanted to know more about what they are talking about, so I started maybe taking Japanese lessons, and that's how I got into Japanese. Oh yes, this is like, I'm sorry that this comes late, but then try to start your introduction in Japanese if possible. So let's say like, 私の名前はユニです。今は18歳です。Even if your accent is not good, even if your Japanese is not that good yet, and you some kind of like forget it and mix it with your native language, it's okay. But it's a good start because it gives the best impression for the General Consulate from Japan. So do that. Okay, I think that's all for my, what's from my memory. I'll try to research more and share with you all, guys. Goodbye. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe and like and share if you find this helpful.